welcome to Bottom of the Sixth here on Blaze Radio and BlazeRadioOnline.com. Hope you all are having a good one to start your new week. We're glad to be back with you here after the break. And it's just great to be back here in the studio with our guys following spring break. Hope you all, if you're students, enjoyed it. I know for those hard working out there, not as fun, but it has been an absolute blast in the start of free agency for the NFL. Just craziness all around, especially with this year's draft, starting it all with the Bears and the Panthers trade, with the Panthers giving up a lot to try and get that number one overall pick, which we will see what they will use it on. And then we've seen a bunch of other trades with Derek Carr way earlier, as well as now a new Raider just announced today, Jimmy Garoppolo. Jason Kelce announced he'd be back. And so, guys, with all this buzz going on here early on in free agency, what's the most crazy thing you've seen thus far?
Oh, that trade was insane. We haven't seen a team trade up to number one in a number of years, so that was really exciting.
The Jared Goff with the Rams,
yeah,
and I think it was Browns that year where they
did
almost everything for that.
So it's been a number of years.
Titans, my bad, not Browns.
Since we saw that, and I guess to me, I don't think the Bears are done. 9 is it's an okay spot. I think they're going to trade up again to maybe 4 or 5. I think they're going to use some of those picks that they got in that trade to move back up just a little bit. I don't think the Bears are going to be too happy with 9. But yeah, definitely giving up a lot. I mean, you can always kind of tell which teams are trying to win right away and which teams are kind of trying to look for a rebuild. And for the Panthers, it's about winning right now, finding your guy. So we'll see what happens. I don't know exactly who the number one quarterback in the draft to go will be, but I assume that's going to be who's taken number one overall. So interesting. And obviously quarterback talk is very exciting. Draft pick talk, when you look at really the top 2 or 3 picks, is really exciting. So I'm excited to see what happens. It reminds me a little bit just of the year where I think it was like Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota went back to back. That's what I don't know why that makes me think of that, but like
this could be that kind of draft.
And the thing is that those guys both kind of
are busts.
Yeah, they kind of flopped. So.
And
hey, but Jameis got a new contract.
He did just sign
to be
back
a
to
solid.
the Saints.
He's gonna, be on the bench for the rest of his life, but he's gonna make $8 million a year doing it. So can't complain if you're him.
I think he's a solid backup.
Yeah, I mean, I think of course, the biggest thing that's happened so far the offseason is that trade where the Bears just got, everything. They got a great elite wide receiver in DJ Moore. They traded down to the 9 overall pick. They got a second rounder, another first rounder next year, and then another second rounder the year after. So they definitely have some pieces to play with over these next couple of seasons. And then with the Panthers, I think that they traded up and they're going to get their guy. And I think their guy from the very start has been CJ Stroud. And I think that they're going to get him, which will then allow Bryce Young to fall down to number 2, where the Texans will replace Davis Mills, of course, and get their guy. So, that trade is huge and going to be a very big what-if situation down in the future, depending on what happens with these 2 quarterbacks. But another big thing that's happened with the quarterbacks just earlier today was the rumors that the trade for Aaron Rodgers to the Jets was official before, I believe it was Ian Rappaport then came out and said, just kidding, not official, nothing yet has happened. They need to stop playing with my emotions. I was in philosophy class this morning at approximately 12 o'clock, and I almost shed a tear when I got the news that Aaron Rodgers was quote-unquote traded, just to find out 5 minutes later it was fake. I almost had a breakdown, and they need to just stop messing with my emotions. Just give me one report and stick with it, please. Aaron, I don't even know what to say anymore. Just make your decision, man. You said you were going to have it done by the start of free agency. It's the start of free agency. You need to figure it out. Packers need to decide what they're doing with the team going into the future. I'm still assuming you're getting traded, but just figure it out. Also, Sauce Gardner, I love you as a player. Stop burning cheeseheads, okay? That's a disgrace to football. Why would you recruit a player by burning a previous thing that meant so much to them? That is not a good or smart strategy. Don't do that. No more of that.
He turned heel, bro.
He did have a little bit of a heel turn there. I was not a fan, but yeah, that's all I gotta say. And then another big move, of course, the Derek Carr to the Saints. I think Chris Olave in fantasy football next year is going to be an animal. I think he's going to be a monster fantasy football-wise, and I think Devontae, fantasy football-wise, is going to fall off with Jimmy Garoppolo now as his quarterback.
I was going to say, I just can't imagine Garoppolo, like, I'm trying to think about it, him wearing black and gray or silver, whatever it is.
Neither can I.
I literally, like...
He's not that mean guy type of guy.
Exactly. It looks mean. Like, their jerseys very much portray what the team is and the logo and everything like that. I cannot get that thought through my head. Like, I can't even imagine it. That's, like, so weird to me. And I guess, I think the Raiders franchise will always kind of have that identity.
Yeah.
I just, like, I can't see it. It's, like, so weird to me. I don't know. Maybe it's because he wore red for so long, and I guess the Patriots before that. But, yeah, I just can't imagine him wearing black. It's so weird.
And then another, of course, huge trade that happened, and a team that's having a very, very good offseason so far, the Miami Dolphins. They signed a good linebacker today in David Long Jr. from the Tennessee Titans to a 2-year deal. And then they absolutely fleeced the Rams.
Yeah.
And got a top 3 cornerback in the league in Jalen Ramsey. And for a 3rd round pick and a backup tight end. I mean, there's not much you can do better than that. And they got the legend, Mike White, as a good backup quarterback for Tua Tagovailoa for the next season. So some good stuff there from the Dolphins. I think they really could be a threat next season, but I'm excited to see the AFC East next year with the Bills, the Dolphins, and a potentially Aaron Rodgers-led Jets. That's going to be an exciting division next season.
Can we just say how iconic this song is? Like when you hear the NFL films, and it's just, our Raiders.
Yeah.
They're just an iconic franchise.
They are an iconic franchise, but they need to start being good. It's
start
better
being
when
good.
they're a good team, and it hasn't been for quite some time.
Oh,
so.
well, now look at the AFC West again. We did this
Overhyped.
before the last season.
Yeah.
We did this before last year. We did this at the very beginning of the year, and I was like, oh, they have Herbert, and they have Russ, and they have Mahomes, and Garoppolo? Like, what? Now we're going to do this again. And, like, part of it was like, okay, like, Broncos bias. Like, I was probably a little too excited about the AFC West. But I'm going to do the exact same thing again. The Broncos just signed 2 offensive linemen to protect Russ. Like, we're going to... I'm going up the roller coaster again, and I'm either going to get hurt or it's going to work out. But, like, they made some good moves today as well, and I'm probably going to get hurt. But now it's like, okay, is the AFC West the strongest division in football again when it comes to the quarterback position? Maybe.
Probably not.
Maybe.
Probably not.
Look at all these moves, though, that they made today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they beefed up the O-line. They got an offensive guard, offensive tackle. That's great.
It's not
gonna
glamorous.
help out.
It's not glamorous, but it's what they needed.
No, it's 100% what they needed. But, I mean, I feel like, yeah, the O-line had some issues last year, but the overall problem was Russell Wilson, as well as Nathaniel Hackett, of course. And that's where we need to see what is
Sean
going to improve.
Payton's still the best offensive move, or the offseason move of the offseason. Sean Payton's the #1 move.
This is true. I mean, the coaching was a huge problem, and they got some hope, at least. Now, Russ was also some hope after the disastrous fall-off that had been since Peyton Manning. But we'll see how it works out for the Broncos in the AFC West. I still think that Kansas City holds and owns that division for as long as that duo of Travis Kelce
100%.
and Patrick Mahomes is here. But I wanted to circle back to the draft real quick and we were talking about Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota and that kind of bust draft class this year. Do you think it's really the draft class to go after, or should teams wait until next year to get their guy?
If you're looking for a quarterback and you have one of those first 2 picks and you're the Panthers or Texans, you go and get your guy right now. The only issue I have with the Panthers and the trade that they made, sure, you're going to go get yourself a possibly great generational face of the franchise quarterback, but now that you got rid of DJ Moore and you got rid of Christian McCaffrey, what weapons are you surrounding him with? I mean, we've seen the last couple of years, young quarterbacks don't do very well if they don't have good weapons. Just look at Trevor Lawrence the season before.
Even if they do have weapons, Zach Wilson.
Yes, even Zach Wilson. I mean, he had Garrett Wilson this year, and he won Rookie of the Year, but it really wasn't because of Zach Wilson. I mean, just imagine Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. Anyway, I'm gonna come back to that in a little bit. But like, look, if you look at Trevor Lawrence 2 seasons ago, he had horrible coaching and horrible weapons, and he had a horrible season. And now, last year, they got him some weapons, they got him better coaching, and he had a great year. So it's the quarterback. If it is C.J. Stroud, I think is going to struggle in his first year, no matter what, because they really don't have any sort of offensive weapons outside of, I mean, Donta Foreman, if you consider him that much of a weapon, and he's not a big pass catching threat, not on the level of Christian McCaffrey when he was there. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening with these 2 young quarterbacks that really won't have much of a receiving core or any weapons surrounding them on this offense.
Do you think the Anthony Richardson hype is too high?
Absolutely.
Because I've heard rumors in some mock drafts that he could be the next Cam Newton for Carolina.
Well, that was good for like a year, and then it didn't really pan out.
Newton was good for a little while.
In his prime. In the prime, Cam Newton, MVP
His prime
Cam
was
Newton.
a Super Bowl loss to the Broncos.
This is true. This
Von
is
Miller
true.
buried him.
But he almost went undefeated to get there. Literally 1 loss.
No, let's not forget how great Cam Newton was.
He was super
During
Cam.
that MVP season, he was absolutely unstoppable. His rookie year, he was phenomenal. I believe they took him to the playoffs in that 2012 season, went 12-4 and got beat by the 49ers. Cam Newton was amazing for the Panthers for a very, very long time. It's the only reason he went downhill was because he got that shoulder injury, which prevented him from throwing the ball really in that back half of the season or career. But if he also produced in college. This guy this year hasn't really produced or got the numbers that Newton did in college. This guy just has a phenomenal NFL combine and athletic ability.
Yeah, I think it's shown that peaking in college, I'm not going to say peaking, performing well in college and not really panning out in the NFL has proven to kind of been a pattern, at least in recent years. Look at your Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, who we talked about earlier.
2 Heisman
Think about
winners.
them now. Exactly. A guy who
Yeah, but then look at Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence.
I guess.
But like,
I guess it's kind of generational, but like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning didn't do anything super special in college.
I mean, Peyton Manning
But
was on
Manning
the verge
was
of a Heisman.
still that guy.
Yeah.
Manning was still the very
But
first overall
Tom
pick.
Brady is a case, and then I do feel like those
Tom
underlying
Brady's a
guys.
once in a generational type of thing. You're never gonna see another Tom Brady. That's just a fact. I mean, you're never gonna see.
But Drew Brees wasn't anything special in college. I mean, he played for Purdue.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But I think flying under the radar is a good thing.
I
but
think
at the
it is
same
too.
thing, Zach Wilson kind of flew under the
Brock
radar
Purdy.
a little
Brock
bit.
Purdy.
Yeah.
okay, Zach Wilson was like
That's
the
a
second
little
overall
different,
pick.
though.
Zach Wilson also wasn't that phenomenal in college, had a good combine, became the second overall pick, and now is horrible.
That's fair.
That's the exact same thing that's going to happen with
It's just such a case by case thing, I guess. It's just
It's-
everything.
It's very different for every single
Yeah.
quarterback. I just think strictly off of what we've seen in college and the production that we've seen there, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are the 2 best quarterbacks in this draft and the 2 that should be taken off the board first.
All right. I want to shift gears here on the back half of the show with another big event going on in March. It's this thing called the NCAA tournament. You guys may know about it. And I know my boy Benjamin Paris has been on the men's basketball beat for WCSN, and he has some very strong feelings about the ASU men's basketball team, who will be kicking it off as they are going dancing. They're in the first 4 bracket as they'll take on Nevada in what was a insightful end to the season. Very exciting, very emotional, and the Sun Devils were fighting for their lives, and they ultimately got a ticket to the dance.
Well, I don't think this happens without me yelling on them mid-season. I think I really gave them a wake-up call after the first round of conference play. So, you're welcome. Just kidding. But, no, definitely excited for these guys. Making the NCAA tournament's a lot of fun. They performed probably their best game of the season against USC. And Coach Hurley talked about that yesterday during his media availability. Seeing them get picked and the team jumping into the pool was super cool. And I like the matchup against Nevada. I think that's a very winnable basketball game. Obviously, very special for Dez and Warren, who both played there before transferring to ASU. So definitely exciting that the school you go to gets to play in the tournament. It's still an exciting time of year, regardless, even if ASU wouldn't have made the tournament. But excited for them. I said at the very beginning of the year, like I think this team's ceiling could be a Sweet 16. So that's still very much in play. I think they could win a game or two in the tournament. Should they win the first 4, they're going to Denver. So that's cool. I'm accepting donations if anyone wants to send me to Denver. My parents said that they would not pay for the flight, but that I could come home. So if anyone wants to help me with that, that'd be super cool. But yeah, I'm excited about the NCAA tournament. I love the music, the pageantry, one shining moment. It's all going to be very, very cool.
Just quick shout out here. We have the Krispy Kreme donation. Please head to the Instagram bio of Blaze Radio to support. And
anything I can ask Autria for money?
Krispy Kreme support.
But like Ben was saying, ASU, just take it one game at a time. Let's just get past Nevada. I think we will. I think we will win that and go on. And I think we beat TCU as well.
I want a ASU GCU second round game. Battle in the desert. Battle of Phoenix.
I wanted to.
The Battle of
That
the
would
Phoenix.
be
In the Battle of
amazing.
Phoenix.
That would be amazing, and I would love to see it, but it is just not gonna
It's not gonna
happen.
happen.
GCU is not getting past Gonzaga, but you know who is? ASU.
Arizona State.
We're gonna beat them, and then we'll fall in the Sweet 16 to UCLA, who I believe might honestly go all the way and win it.
Here's the thing, though. If you play a team 4 times in a season, you should be able to beat them. That's all I'm saying. If ASU finds UCLA in that matchup, they should be able to beat them.
No,
They're 0-3.
We might get swept there. We
No,
might get
losing
swept
to a
in
team
that
4
7-game
times in a
series.
season is a really bad look. And they were about to do that to USC. And I think that's why ASU showed that they deserve to make the tournament. If you lose to a team 3 times, you don't deserve to make the tournament. But when you do it, when you beat them one time, you go 1-2, you do it, a week after playing them. I was really happy with that. And I think that what almost defined that game for me was their 3-point shooting. Notoriously bad 3-point shooting team. We've said that since before conference play started. It's hard to say. I don't think all of their success is on their 3-point shooting, but I think that it's an indicator. I think their success comes from their defense because they're a team. They're not a great offensive team. They're a defensive team, and where they've started losing basketball games is when they started playing awful defense. So if ASU can play defense and start making shots from 3, that was the difference really between the USC game and the U of A game. Just look at the 3-point stats. They're making everything in that USC game, and then the next night, it's a night later. I just don't understand how Desmond Cambridge can play amazing one night. He's making a million 3-pointers. Then the next night, shot selection goes back to what it was, at the end of Pac-12 play during the regular season. So it was interesting, but they're dancing, and I guess that's really all that matters.
Do you think 2 Pac-12 teams will make the Final Four?
No.
Who do we have in our Final Four, everybody?
Okay, maybe.
You want me to pull up the bracket quick?
Here's the thing is that Arizona's just so talented. When you look at...
they were so talented last year, too.
Yeah, that's true. I guess UCLA
I
is
have
too
Arizona
because
going
Jaime
out.
Hawkins might be the best player in the nation. And Tubelis is unbelievable. And Kerr and all these players. I mean, yeah, honestly, it's possible. But the thing is, I think Michigan State's going to go on a run. They might make the Elite Eight. I think Texas has the ability to go on a run. I think Indiana has the ability to go on a run. There's some players in each of these, regions that, it's tough. I think I have to look real quick. Yeah, it's the one with Houston. I think Houston's going to have the hardest time in terms of a number 1 seed. Iowa and Auburn, both really good. I think Indiana could be really good coming out of that region. Texas will obviously be a player. Penn State and Texas A&M both have chances. So I think Houston, in terms of number 1 seeds, are going to have the hardest path to the Final Four, which is ironic because the Final Four is in Houston. So obviously, that's going to be the first storyline. Houston's playing in the Final Four in Houston. They're going to win the national championship in front of their home crowd, whatever. But that's instantly going to be a storyline. And it already is. From the moment it was a storyline from the minute the season began because you knew they were going to be a contender. But in terms of number 1 seeds, I think they drew the hardest region.
Yeah, I mean, Houston has been great all season long, which is why they, of course, are a 1 seed. I do have them making the Final Four and getting that Houston home court advantage, but I have them losing in the Final Four to UCLA. Then on the other side of the bracket, I have Baylor and Duke. The way Duke has been playing recently, they are just on fire.
That'd be unbelievable, yeah.
They're catching fire at the right time, and I think it's going to keep going into this tournament. I have them going all the way to the Natty and then losing, of course, to UCLA in the championship. Nice little 2v5 seed matchup there. And
UCLA a blue blood?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Duke UCLA?
So I think it's going to be, I think it's going to come down to Kansas and UCLA in the Elite Eight game to advance to the Final Four. And I think that's going to be a phenomenal.
There's going to be a lot of basketball
I have
games.
that as well.
That's going to be a phenomenal basketball game, and I'm honestly going to go the other blue blood route, and I'm going to say Kansas is going to go back to the Final Four. I don't think they're going to repeat as champions. I do agree. Actually, no. Kansas is in the West. Duke's in the East, so they could meet in the national championship. Yep. But anyway, so yeah. So I believe also agree that Duke is playing well, and they will end up making it to the Final Four again. I think Kansas gets back there as well. Then you go to the other regions in the South. I don't like Alabama, just with the storylines and stuff. They are the number 1 overall seed. They play very well, but there have also been some other teams who have been playing pretty well. I think Arizona's hitting at the right time. They did beat UCLA. Out of that Final Four, it comes down for me for honestly Arizona. And then also the runner-up in the ACC, Virginia. Those are two very good teams.
Yeah, and to talk about Bama for a second, and the way that a lot of people have their brackets is, of course, the San Diego State-Alabama matchup. I think San Diego State can give Alabama a game. I think it's going to be a really good basketball game. I think San Diego State could give anybody a game, really, in this tournament. I think they're a really good basketball team. I guess the other thing that I've been thinking of that it's like bittersweet, Jim Nance's last tournament.
It's so sad.
So part of me is like, oh, like that really sucks. But otherwise, it's like, cool.
Yeah.
Iron Eagles calling March Madness after this. So
dude, Iron Eagles is so good.
That's going to be super cool as well. But hey, what sucks about that is that when it's here next year, Jim won't be here. But Iron will be here.
Iron will.
We'll see what happens.
But, and then the final region in the Midwest, I think Houston's really, really good. They're going to be tough to beat. But I'm just going to say Penn State's not going to make the Final Four, but Penn State has been phenomenal lately. They beat Northwestern, who's been upset heavy. They beat Purdue. Purdue's going to be a flunk in the tournament. I'm just saying.
100%.
Regular season type team.
Yeah.
But they also beat Illinois, and then they almost beat Purdue for the Big Ten championship. So I think Penn State's the type of team that could maybe make one of those Cinderella runs to like the Elite Eight, and they could be a dangerous team. But what I like coming down in this region is outside of Houston is Xavier and where's the other one that I was liking? Yeah, I think it's Xavier and Houston that'll be fighting for that spot in the Final Four.
That's what I have also in my bracket. Yeah.
I really think Houston's gonna lose. I really do.
I think Bama.
I think before the Final Four, so somewhere in the Elite Eight or before, I think Alabama and Houston will both lose.
I have Bama losing in the Elite Eight,
yeah.
And then I have Houston losing in the Final Four. I do have them making it.
So I got Houston in the Final Four. I'm going to take Arizona in the Final Four. I'm going to take Kansas as well, and then Duke in that final spot. So that's my Final Four.
Because I think Purdue could lose too. I think Kansas.
Yeah, Purdue's
I think out of the 1 seeds, Kansas has the best chance of making it to the Final
Kansas
Four.
has the best chance for sure.
I think out of all the 1 seeds, Purdue makes it not the furthest, the shortest by far. Like I just think they're a fluky team. I don't think they really.
I think Bama's the same way though. I think Bama's a fluke.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a football school. Let someone else have basketball. Come on.
Yeah.
I like the East region, dude. That region is loaded with Duke. They also got Kentucky, Tennessee. Kentucky's been playing well, man, too. That's gonna be a fun region. It's just gonna be a fun tournament all around.
I feel like Kentucky always chokes in March Madness somehow. They always find a way to blow it. So we'll see what they do this season.
John Calipari. Oh man. But yeah, NCAA tournament, NFL action, lots of stuff going down around.
We still got one more thing, Blake.
Hymn of the Week, our annual Hymn of the Week. It is time for that.
Shoot.
All right, so I was watching the WAC semifinal, and what did it for me, Southern Utah, they're down by 3 with, I don't know, like 5 seconds left. They get a 4-point play to win the game in regulations. Tavion Jones, three-pointer, basket, foul, sinks it for the dagger to get his team into the championship game, which they lost. But Southern Utah, Tavion Jones, absolutely cold-blooded. His 4-point play absolutely earned him of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can really argue very much with it. With a play like that, how could you not win him of the week?
It was awesome. It was so cool.
There you have it, folks. Him of the week, yet another edition, and we may see you late night edition. Late night edition.
It's possible.
See, I don't know because now I have to wake up for football on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
This is true.
For spring football. So I'd like to sleep. So maybe.
TBD on that. But
It
anyway,
could be a podcast special.
It's a game time decision.
Yeah, we'll see.
game time decision. But thank you all for tuning in to the bottom of the six. Love y'all. See you next week.
Bye.